Hello everybody, welcome back to another video in the Decoders Java series. My name is Srinjoy Maji, and today we're going to be covering variable declaration and initialization. Okay. So this is a very important concept in Java because without it, you wouldn't be able to write any variables and you wouldn't be able to store any data. So first we need to discuss what is variable declaration and what is variable initialization and what's their differences. So when we declare a variable, we simply write the data type before the variable name. So as you can see in this example right here, we have a variable called age, and this age variable stores the age of someone, and we can represent that by an integer. So declaring would simply be just writing the data type before the variable name, as you can see here. Okay. Initializing variables, on the other hand, is assigning a value to that variable. So in this case, we write age equals 20 and we assign 20 to the variable age. So some important things to note is that we can't initialize a variable without declaring it. So we can't just write age equals 20 in Java. We have to write int age, then age equals 20. And also another important thing is that we don't have to separate the declaration and initialization steps into two different lines. We actually do this in the same line. And we will be using both in separate lines and in one line, depending on what we want to accomplish in our program. Okay. So this is a quick review of the types of data in Java. So there is a primitive data types video in the Decoders Java series. So if you haven't watched that, please watch it as it will really help your understanding in today's video because we will be building off of concepts that were discussed in that video. So our primitive types are int, float, char, boolean, byte, short, long, and double. And also we could store objects inside of a variable. And this includes strings, array lists, or other custom classes that we create. In today's video, we will only be covering strings because in future videos, we will be covering array lists and other custom classes. So now I'll be moving on to VS Code just to show you guys some examples of declaring and initializing some variables. Okay, so now we're in VS Code, and I'll just give you guys a quick rundown of the program we have here. We have a public class called primitive types, and we have a main method. And in this program, we're just going to be showing you guys how to declare variables, initialize them, and how to do them in one line. Okay, so in this class, we're going to be showing primitive types. So declaring the primitive type variables, we have boolean bool, byte byt, char c, short sh, long lo, int num, float fl, double dou, and as you can see here in the declaration part, we just have the data type before the variable name. Okay. And now we're going to be moving on to initializing these variables. So in this case, we're just going to be assigning a value to all of these variables. So in bool, we assign true. Byte, we assign 52. And I'll also remember that bytes are any number between -128 and 127, which is 8 bits. Then we have C equals A, because, okay, one more thing to notice about chars is that chars always have a single quote around them and they represent like any letter, any single letter, like A, B, C, D, E, whatever you want. I just chose A in this example. Okay, then we have our short, which is any number between -32,768 and 32,767. This is 16 bits, and num, which is our integer, is a 32-bit number that we can store, and this is the range for it. Then we have a long, which is 64 bits of storage, and this is our range for the long variable, long data type, sorry. And we have our float. One important thing to notice about floats is that all decimals in Java are automatically doubles. So to convert from doubles to float, we simply add an F at the end of our decimal. And in general, floats are used to store decimals of 6 to 7 decimal digits. Then we have our double, which is capable of storing 15 decimal digits. Okay. And now we just printed these values out to the screen just to show you guys it's working fine. So as you can see here, if we scroll up, so let me just, yeah, it's right here. So you guys can see right here. So our Boolean variable, byte, our character variable, our char variable, sorry, short, long, short, integer, long, float, and our double variable is all printed out right here. Okay, so now we can be moving on to declaring and initializing these variables in the same line. So as you can see here, this is our declaring part because we put the data type before the variable name, and this is our initializing part. So we can do this in the same line as you can see, and I just put the same values as the previous variable just to show you guys it's working perfectly fine. As you can see, if you want to compare, that's also fine. You can see it's all the same values. Okay. So then we're just going to be printing this out. You see it's fine. Yep. As you can see, all the variables are printed out. So this was just a demo of declaration and initialization of primitive types. Now I'll be showing you guys how to declare and initialize strings. So here we have a class called classes, and we have a main method. And in this example, we're just going to be going over declaring and initializing strings. So as in the primitive data types, we can do these in different steps. So here we could have string name, just declaring it. Remember, it's the data type before the variable name, and then we can initialize, which is setting a value to that name. And also remember that strings have double quotes and they can represent any length of characters. So it could be, it doesn't have to be one character long like a char. And this is an example of me doing it in one line. As you can see, this is the declaring part, and this is the initialization part. And there's also one more way to declare and initialize strings because they are classes. So for example, here, we could just do it in one line. String name 3 equals new string return. Okay. So strings are objects, and this is how you would create a new object of a class. So we could also do it like that. So in total, we have 3 different ways of declaring and initializing strings. And also, don't worry if you don't understand this completely yet. We will be covering how to declare and create classes in a different video. Okay, so now I'm just going to print this out to the screen. Okay, so we have our variables printed out. So we have name from where we did the separate string joins printed out. And then we have our declaring and initializing in one line. And we have Daniel printed out. Actually, let me just put a space here just to make it easier for you guys to see it. Okay, see, we have declaring and initializing separate. And for stringjoy here, declaring and initializing in one line, we have Daniel printed out because we did that in one line. And we have our final way of creating a string object to assign a value of return, and that's right here. So main takeaway is that we have 3 different ways to declare and initialize strings. We could do it in separate lines or in the same line, or we could just create a string object to assign a value to it. Okay. And that is it for our video. Thank you for watching, everyone, and I hope you have a very good time learning more Java with us.